Hello, this is Bwana from bwana.tv, and today I want to talk a little bit about Twitter. Yes, Twitter, the microblogging engine that allows you to answer the question, what are you doing right now, in 140 characters or less. I've done so many videos on Twitter and Twitter related topics and all types of topics surrounding social media, and whenever I talk about social media I always kind of talk about Twitter in some form or fashion. If you've been following my blog at bwana.org and even watching my videos here, you know that I had a recent spat with Twitter. I didn't approve of the way they handled their instant messaging and track features. Those were two of my favorite features of Twitter, and I actually did a video on bwana.tv on how I use Twitter, and I detailed everything I did. The majority of that video was around IM and track. However, I did use twirl in that video a little bit. Now, it's been about 4 months, a little bit more than 4 months. I stopped using Twitter around June 6th, and I said I'm done, I'm fed up, because they were having all kinds of other problems, which I kind of understood, but the fact that they weren't even working on instant messaging and track kind of seemingly they weren't working on it, kind of messed with my brain. I was like, well, I'm just not going to deal with it. Excuse me, there was too much frustration around trying to use a tool, and it kept breaking. Even though there were benefits, you know, the frustration outweighed the benefits at the time. So it's been about 4 months. Twitter has done a lot of changes. They have hired a bunch of people, they've got more venture capital funding, and they have stabilized most of their website. The web-based part, they purchased demise.com to do custom search. They've seemingly corrected some of their API woes, but instant messaging and track still aren't there. So the other day I wrote up a blog post saying that, well, I kind of come to the conclusion and the realization that track is not coming back. At least not in a way that I loved it, the way that I really utilized it. Track allowed me to use the whole entire Twitterverse as my own personal filter. I got this giant fire hose, is what they call it, fire hose of data, and I was able to filter certain terms and only see certain things. So it was a lot of information, a lot of potent information, and a lot of news coming in, and it was very, very useful. That put a serious hurting on Twitter's servers, and it was a big factor in their instability. And I didn't believe that at first. I really didn't. I was like, no, there's got to be a way. So I moved over to Identica. Identica has implemented track, or they have implemented XMPP, the extensible messaging. I forget what the P stand for, but they have implemented that, and there is now track on Identica. However, track or Identica is having issues with their implementation of XMPP in Java, or instant messaging, if you will. They're already having issues, and they're probably 1/1000th of the size of Twitter. So I got to thinking, I'm like, well, maybe this track IM thing is a little bit harder than I thought. And I was watching the Bear Hug Camp from Leo Laporte. He was live streaming the Bear Hug Camp with Steve Gilmore, the guys from Twitter from there, and even from Identica was there. And they got discussing IM and track around Twitter, and I got the sense, and I'm really wrong about these things, I got the sense that track is not coming back, at least not in the form that I was used to via IM, via the fire hose. What Twitter is doing is that you have to now be pre-approved to have access to that fire hose of information that everybody had before. They're saying that they're working on improving the architecture so that something like that doesn't happen again. With that statement, coupled on the fact that they bought Sumize, which some people believe is a replacement for track, because you can search for terms on search.twitter.com, and the browser kind of refreshes and says, hey, there's 6 more results, there's 10 more results, and you have to physically refresh the browser to see those new results. It's not quite the same, but some people are satisfied, and I think Twitter can live with that. So I've come to the realization that track is dead, it's not coming back, and I have to rethink and re-architect the way that I use Twitter instead of using track. And if I can do that, then I can use the tool, because it was so frustrating, because that was my primary way of using it and it wasn't there. So lo and behold, here I am going back to Twitter. Like I said, I'm going back. I'm at twitter.com/bwana, and I'm still trying to find the best way to use it. A lot of people use Twitter as a kind of like a marketing platform. Every time they make a blog post, every time they want to promote something, it's a great way to get the word out to a lot of people. It kind of borderlines spam when you go along that route. So I don't want to go that route too much. I do want to sprinkle little things. I'm having this event at bwana.tv in 2 weeks or whatever. I'll do stuff like that. But I have to really rethink the way I use it, because it's not the same. It's just not the same the same Twitter that I fell in love with, and I'm just gonna have to see from here on out. So if you're on Twitter, follow me. My Twitter ID is Bwana, and you'll find that I am active on there. I was inactive for about 4 months, but now I'm active again. So that's my Twitter rant for this month. I hope I didn't bore you too much. This is Bwana from bwana.tv, and this is my reasoning for returning to Twitter.